Hello, everyone. This is Psychic Underlord from psychicunderlord.shop as well as psychicunderlord.com. Want to do another video. I have to re-record this video in particular because I had a lot I wanted to say, so I wanted to flesh out how I wanted to put this because this is a loaded question. How can I get what I want in life? It comes down to your experience, your awareness, and what's able to happen on the physical outdoors. And the inside of us steers our lives towards a certain outcome. So your thoughts control your outcome. No matter what you believe, no matter what you think, even money and access cannot stop a mind that is ordained for failure over its reality. This is why our rituals work 100% of the time. People are shocked when people are removed from their life. People who are powerful, people who have authority over them, are sat down in very quick fashion, very distinctively, unusually, very relieving to see how it works, but also very shocking that we wasted so much of our energy on other people and on our circumstances when the solution is the divining ritual in the spirit realm that I have the authority to be able to operate with. The concept is that people think they can just, as long as they get the job, they've got the money. As long as they got the money, they've got the house. As long as they've got the house, they've got the marriage. As long as they've got the marriage, they have the kids. See, there are enough people who failed from the top to the bottom for you to realize that you need something more. What we're living in is we're living in an ancient witchcraft box that has been wrapped around us. Our ancestors have passed on DNA curses to us. We've been cursed in our education. We've been taught how to do right things the wrong way and wrong things the right way. So we've become evil. We've become adverse to positivity. We've become adverse to health, to our prosperity. We've become adverse to things that can go right for us because we've had miseducation. We've also had the miseducation passed on through our epigenetic DNA, through our bodies. Our bodies come out of the womb with curses on them, and we grow up in these atmospheres and environments that feed into those curses. So by the time you're 18 years old, you go out into the world and you say, why is it that I didn't know the world was like this until now? And I've been living here and operating here. It's like I've been asleep for almost 20 years. It's because of these things that are sitting on you and you don't know how to get them out. Now you know how to get them off of your kids. Now you know how to get them off of your marriage, off of your finances, off of your spirituality, off of your health. This is how you transform through divination. Now, this is an ancient concept. People say, oh, well, we live in a modern society. That doesn't mean that a car can't just crash into you and kill you just because we live in a modern society. That's the most ridiculous thing to think. If you think that we somehow, through Christianity, through the Christ, even through 2012, through all the evolution of humanity, that somehow you've been able to work off the curses that are on you and now you're just walking in blessings and nothing to touch you, that's false. Because you're scared to death. If this thing doesn't work, you're going to go right back to square one. They set it up this way so that you're unstable. So the fighting of the curses until you surrender until death. Now, the purpose of having you live and live on earth that's been ordained as the new heaven is that you're able to clean yourself up and clean your situation up and know how these things work. I've had to discover this stuff raw on my own with spiritual direction. And I've had to be tested in every which way. So my stuff is way different. There's no gimmick. There's no loopholes. There's no sinkholes or things about it that are unfinished. It was finished before I even started putting it out there because I had to do it all to myself. So a person who's had failure ordained over their reality, it could be through cultural, through bloodline, through conditioning, through atmospheres, things that have happened to you. You ever wonder why people say, oh, I've been sexually molested so many times by different people? What is that about? I've been had so many fights. I've had to fight here and there, and I'm constantly fighting. And my whole mentality is I fight for what I want, and I go after it. Then after you fight, you see how many fights they've had and how many losses they have, and they're batting 100 on losses, because every time they fight their way through, they end up getting mastered and put right back to square one. Divining ritual stops that. And it has to be anchored by someone who's initiated. I'm the only person that's initiated to do what I do. The only one. I don't have a witchcraft cauldron. I don't have anything I can take a picture of and say, oh, I just did this curse. I have a psychic gift, so I used my gift as a workaround to be able to produce what has to happen, because it has to happen through your consciousness for you to receive it and to experience it. If your mind is controlled by witchcraft, I have to go in and remove these things. I have to go in and to be able to create the atmosphere and the protection that you need so that you can get to the next level, or it's not going to happen. So the person who has been ordained, dominated over, because see, you're sitting there, you're saying, I live in a country and all the foreigners have all the power, they have all the money, they have all the success, and these people have so much success they've been able to leave their own country, come to my country, and then dominate over me. Why don't I have a shot even in my own country to have something on the level that they have? It's not just the thirst that they have, it's also the access. What do you think that they have in their country that propel them to be able to come to such a higher opportunity? There could be witchcraft that is more powerful than what's put on you. And now they're just living and walking in their reality that it's taken the last few years for them to acquire. And now they're making you look really, really crazy because you're saying, I'm stuck in a job I don't even want. How can I transform my life? So without divination, you have no protection. You have none. And I'm not talking about saying a prayer, because there are people who say prayers that are not answered and are not even heard by the spirit realm. They really don't believe it. They pray, but they don't know how or who or believe that it's going to work at all. They're just praying because they have nothing else better to do. They don't have a prayer life. They don't have a prayer existence, because prayer lives will break your whole life apart. And that's what people are trying to hold on to. So you're saying, okay, well, I don't want to let go of my husband or let go of my boyfriend because, I need to kind of have a scaffolding, step by step, move up this thing, up the ladder so I can get out of this thing. I don't want it to end tomorrow. How do you design something like that where you know that you have no control over it? You got to come to psychicunderlord.shop. That's the only way to get a permanent fixed anchor that has the power to break through what's that stuff that's on you. Divination from Psychic Underlord is legal. To transfer, to reorganize the reality, to remove certain things from you, to place other things on other people. It comes through my body. This is how it's been set up for me. This is my bittersweet thing. That I have to sit here and give things out of my body, but I don't have control over what it costs. I don't have control over what it is. I don't have control over how it works out. I don't have control over all the inner particulars. I mean, most of the particulars, all of them almost pretty much outside of the will of the Lord have had to be designed by hand for years and years and years. I have all this stuff because that's the technology I'm working with. So legality. So my stuff doesn't backfire. I'm not on the voodoo realm. I'm not on the Santeria realm. I'm not on the Islamic witchcraft realm. I don't work with jinns and all these different type of spiritual exchanges and things like that. Above that. I'm above all of that. Um, your mind is smart enough to destroy you. I hope you know that. So it's smart enough to take something that you heard 5 years ago and use that to destroy you, even without your permission. It's been proven that ideas and things in your head can undo all rational options. Only thing you need is one thing from the wrong place to set you up for failure. It could be fast, it can be slow, but it's ultimately going to take you towards something that's not going to be beneficial for you. And how many times have you gone down that road? And this is why people are afraid of everything. Either you have two sides. You have one side, people are gambling everything, risking everything, doing everything, and saying, if I just go through all this stuff, all of this trash, and go through it without spiritual protection, without fortification, without direction, and I really am risking it because I haven't risked enough. That's why I haven't achieved. So that mentality, they drill that into people to force you into slavery. So you enslave yourself to the idea that things can work out when they're spiritually not supposed to ever happen for you. But if you actually decide spiritually what you want to happen, then actually it's legal for me to transform your reality and make it possible and make it happen for you. But people on the other side, they just can drive you. If I can manipulate you emotionally, if I can get in your head, I can make you think things that are not true. I can make you think that you need me. I can make you think that without me, your stuff is going to crumble. All those kind of things. It's engagement. It's toxic. It's unhelpful. It's unnecessary. So you can't trust your mind 100% and say, oh, I have a strong mind, so I don't need divining ritual. That's a lie, because your mind can be changed, and it has been changed. It actually doesn't take that much to change it. You just don't uh, acknowledge that other people have done it for you. And this is why you're in the situation you're in right now. So, ritual is a permanent anchor of allowance or disallowance. These are the things that I have to put together so that I can move you toward your goal and your objectives. There are certain things that cannot happen. Certain things that, for example, if you get the ritual protection for doomsday, I clearly outline the a policy format as far as what you're protected against. Those things cannot occur. So you eliminate all these different options. And then when the mind acknowledges what's actually inside of you, next thing you know, what happens is that your fear of these things disappears, because there's a confirmation system inside of you that tells you, oh, I actually now am starting to understand how I'm protected. I can feel it. I can see it. I've experienced things in front of me that have not been able to manifest or have manifested. So now I acknowledge that the spirit realm is working in my favor. So you need this. There's no way around. And people say, oh, I go to church. You know how many people have gone to church and all their kids have been shot up and killed? How many people have gone to church? They've been married multiple times. Every time they get married, they get into a toxic situation, violence, domestic violence. They spent all their money on lawyers. People who should have been retired 15, 20 years ago based upon the money that they made because they were going after money. So they got the money and enslaved themselves to this concept of working yourself for the system instead of having the system work for you. They go out there, they get what they want, and then they say, oh, it really doesn't matter to hold on to money at all, because every time I get it, I lose it. So they have a psychology that will continuously keep them impoverished for the rest of their life. They can't do anything about it. They don't know how to change it. They don't know how to stop it. And the solution is within, it's in the spirit realm. So if you don't get ritual, you will get taken out. The notion is that the old rituals are still there no matter what you think. The curses of the fathers, of the mothers, of the people who passed on their lineage to you. If you think that you've been purged out, even Elon Musk, richest man in the world, is not purged out. That's why he's running from all this stuff, because he's outside of the will of what the Lord wants. That's why his stuff is not going properly. And then you can say, oh, well, they were able to discover this and discover that. It always works like that, doesn't it? You always go into the relationship and you think everything is great until they start beating you. You see how that works? So it's not some type of thing where everything is perfect from the beginning. No, it looks like it's going to work out because they have the tenacity and the grit. But the spirit realm will master these people and it will put them in their place. Now, whether or not what he's doing is good or not, I mean, I'm angered and infuriated to see people are stealing and doing all kind of things that they've been doing. But what he's discovering is setting other people up for a fall. So the people he's about to destroy, actually, he's not immune from the reaction if he doesn't have divination and proper spiritual ritual placed upon him. He's still in just as much trouble as them, because there's no way in the world you can make that much money and not have corruption. Outright corruption, secretive corruption, even corruption that you don't believe, or you don't want to believe it's there. You don't want people to know it's there. That's kind of stuff will take you out. But before it takes you out, doesn't it seem like the spirit realm likes to play with its food first? So it will play with you. It will screw you up and put you in all kinds of disadvantages. And people say, oh, if I had all this money, I wouldn't have any disadvantages. Tell it to Steve Jobs. Tell it to all these other people. You think that there was a strong enough hit for him to not be able to take the money that he made and go and get somebody to give him some help? You think he wasn't smart enough to research and figure out how to get a cure, to find people who actually had a cure to this in the 90s? I mean, that's crazy. So you need ritual over you, no matter what you think. And also, every time you go into these stores, every time you give money to people, what you're doing is you're giving money to a spirit. You go to the corner store, you go to McDonald's, you go pay your insurance bill, you're giving money to a spirit somewhere. And that spirit has all kinds of authorities and ordinances over them as well as over you, because now there's a exchange and a transference. Now, it would work the same way even if you were giving them apples. If you were giving them apples and oranges or rocks, it would work the same exact way, either against you or for you, because the spirit realm knows who is supposed to be cursed, who is supposed to be blessed. You got the people making millions of dollars and people are after them, killing them, terrorizing them. Multi-millionaire people say, oh, I had to go through, they raped me. They were raping me every night because I had to assure them of my business dealings. What kind of life is that? You think those are the only ones? You think that it's maybe less formal, maybe one-on-one, all these type of things where people have to get money, loans? How are they going to pay it? They don't make the money. So they're risking everything. And you get people with low IQ are good at risking everything. They'll make you risk your whole life. You'll risk your whole future on a person with a low IQ because they don't see any problem in bringing you into their problems because they're not willing to solve them by themselves. And they fool you. A fool will fool you into thinking that you can actually solve their problems for them. So your thoughts without ritual are nothing more than witchcraft missions. You're going on a mission here, you're going on a mission there. I got to do this, I got to do that. You people that are the most cursed are sometimes the most busy. They're the most caught up because they don't know necessarily where to go. They don't know necessarily what to do, and they don't know necessarily what they can or can't do. So they're just trying everything. And then in the process of trying, they get a little something out of it. But if you compare that to the energy that they put out, It's crazy how much they pretty much lost 99% of the energy that they output just to get 1%, and then that 1% is going to fail within 6 months. How is that a way to live? This is why people die. They don't see an option. They don't see a future for them to move forward. So they have it as a sweet surrender, but it's actually just the coldness and the frustration and the hatred of what we actually go through without the proper divining ritual, also called psychic rituals, that come through my shop. And it didn't happen before 2012. So it had to happen now because this is the time of the global ascension. So my shop is being set up for massive amounts of people from all different walks of life, all different currency exchanges all over the world. So church is not enough, because what do you get in church? You got cursed people. So now you're in church hugging on people who need to die, hugging on people who have cursed the Lord every day of their life. And then they get a kick out of it because they can steal your energy. And then you go in there, you say, oh, your sister, brother. You're doing all kinds of things, helping people that you don't know where their spirituality stands. You haven't prayed, you haven't asked, you don't know, you don't have ritual, they don't have it either. So you're both just always strung up, and you're just basically holding on. You got churches full of people, everybody in there has cancer. What's that about? Why is everybody sick? Can't you have some healthy people in here? What are we teaching? Is it that we've been taught to die and we've been taught to be sick? That's not a part of the global ascension. We've been taught that we shall live and we shall walk into the new world here on this planet. We're not going to have to die to see it, because we must be reborn. How is it that you must be reborn, but in your mind you're confused about the whole process? You haven't even put it down. You can't even put it down on paper about the system that you actually believe in spiritually, because you're just believing as you go. There's no foundation. There's nothing firm. The firmness that you need is the divining ritual from psychicunderlord.shop. So witchcraft missions, they're everywhere. Friends call you, oh, come here with us. Go look over here. Isn't it wonderful just to have friends? But what if your friends are uninitiated and they're unapproved? Do you think that they're going to bring you into some kind of blessing that comes from the Lord? They can only bring you into, at most, a dual blessing, a curse and a blessing. So now you have two things to contend with, and how to nurture either one or both. And then you end up getting half. And then at half, maybe because of other entanglements, has to go and it'll be failed in 6 months. So you're investing all your time in people who might turn around and hurt you. They might be even so jealous because you showed them everything about yourself. You said, okay, I've never revealed so much about myself. So now I'm going through a season where I'm just trying to live openly and freely. But really, at the end of the day, what you've done is you've disgraced the spirit realm, because you've left yourself unprotected. So now the spirit realm sits back and watches you uncovered with ritual, trying to go through a process of dealing with people who don't have your best interests at heart. Your thoughts are not pure, and without anchors in the spirit that are real, you will be destroyed by the system. We're talking about eternal life. The eternal life system commands that you undo the harm and the damages that has been done to your biological structure, and maintain that as we go through this process of letting go and shedding of all that is evil.